know if you can see anything.
Yeah, it's coming through now and recording has started. So thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay, so as I said before, just to put the school in some context, Trinity Fields is situated in the community of Ystrad Mynach. It's a busy, forward-looking school that provides educational and specialist facilities for pupils 3 to 19 with a wide range of learning difficulties. It's a resource centre, purpose-built school opened in 1998, and it offers pupils many unique and innovative features in order to develop their skills. So a little bit about me. I've been teaching for 24 years. I've spent 7 years in a primary school in Cardiff, a mainstream primary. I taught for 7 years as a TLR in a school for pupils in the speech and language unit. And I've now been teaching at Trinity Fields for 10 years, but for 3 of those now, I've had a TLR post phase leader for overseeing 10 classes currently. We have a big extension due in September, so the classes could increase slightly. Right. Okay, so obviously I support the head teacher with the school development plan. I've been leading Eco Schools, which is a big part of the development plan, for 10 years. And I'm just going to move that out of the way, sorry. Yeah. So, and highlighted from the environmental review as part of the Eco Schools assessment, was developing awareness of different ways we could get to places other than using cars and buses. So about, I think it was 2 years ago, the class I had, we entered a competition and it was called Roads in the Future. And we actually won the competition and we won £2,000. So last academic year, I organised for a bike company to come into school. And just for my class then, they accessed a session on bikes, and a lot of them learned how to ride bikes. And some of the class then achieved their level 1 award. So this year, so that was last year. That's the actual competition. If we've got time, I'll play the video for you at the end, but I'll come back to that because I don't want to spend the time watching that. But this year then, I was allocated £5,000 and I was allowed to open up the experience for the whole school. So rather than just having the bikes in, the bike company in for one class, I opened it up for the whole school. So some of the things I had to do then to make it a whole school approach was just inform staff of the programme and support staff in allocating pupils to the experience. I had to inform parents, devise risk assessments, organise requisition forms and put in the order for the amount that I needed and the times I needed for the company to come in. I had to put a timetable together. And I had to measure this through the school development targets, through questionnaires, linked to the progression steps, and percentage, like how many children had access and how many children took part in the awards. So that's just a little snapshot. So I put all the documents in one place because I know this presentation can be shared. So I thought people might want to go and have a look at what we had to do. So I sent a letter out to the whole school to make sure that everybody was aware of what we were doing, what the bike scheme was offering. Right at the end of the scheme, when the 2 weeks block had finished, because it went on for 2 weeks, because there's like 25 classes across the school and in the satellite provision as well. So that took a long time. It took 2 weeks for the bike company to be in. And then at the end of that, I sent out Google forms to the pupils and parents and staff teams to get their feedback on it. I had to put risk assessments in place to make sure that it was safe for the bike company to come using the space that we were using. The timetable was for the whole of the 24 classes, so they all had access and they knew when they were coming, and then the order form as well. so that the office knew how much was coming out and where the budget was coming from. So these are some of the pictures of the children accessing the bikes over the 2 weeks. And the link there, obviously when you get to share this presentation, if you click on the Twitter feed and you search for bikes, there are lots of other pictures, but obviously I couldn't put 24 classes worth of, but I thought a snapshot of the children using the bikes would show some evidence today. So the impact of the programme that was implemented. So 80% of the pupils access the cycling experience, 20% access the sensory bike programme. Parent feedback questionnaire forms, which I'll show you in a sec. The wow moments, so like what staff was saying, like they kept saying to me, this child can't ride a bike at home, and we didn't even know they could ride a bike, and then to tell parents they could ride a bike, which was a perfect time in May because now parents can look for buying bikes in the summer. So 4% of the pupils achieved national standards level 1, which is incredible, and 1% of the pupils achieved a standards level 2. So they went out on the roads. There was like 3 pupils that went out on the road. Pupil feedback form results and staff feedback form results as well gave me some knowledge into what the impact was. Oh, I've gone too far now. Okay, so the pupil feedback, did you like using the bikes? 95% said yes. What did you like the most? So obviously we've got bikes with stabilizers, balanced bikes, smaller bikes, bikes with pedals, and stabilizers and pedals. So 50% like the bikes with 50% of the pupils like the bike with pedals. How could you make it better? So 30% having bikes in school.
Please can the car go in between?
Having more activities that would involve bikes, having longer sessions on the bikes, all of the above, having longer sessions on the bikes and more scooters. So that was quite nice. So the parent feedback, did your child experience the cycling programme in school recently? So they all 100% said yes, so that was really positive. Does your child have a bike at home? So 50% said no, but 35% said yes. So I'm hoping that that will increase when I do it again next year. What type of bike did your child use in school? So they just went through and said which ones they use. There was quite a high percentage on the balance bikes, which you would expect. Would you like your programme to be an annual experience? So they've all said yes. Are you confident in using a bike with your child at home? So 39% said no, 54% said yes. So I might look at getting some parent sessions next year and get some parents in with the company so they can see how they run it. What impact has the bike sessions had on your child? Health and well-being obviously is quite high, behaviour and more confidence. So I really like those results because I could sort of work with those again for next year. So class teams, would you like your programme to be an annual experience? They all said yes. How many pupils in your class accessed the programme? So obviously 6 to 11 pupils, that was quite high. So that, you know, a lot of the pupils accessed the bikes. Were pupils anxious at the beginning and then happy to have a go? Yet a lot of children didn't want to have a go, but by the end of the session, they were really confident in having a go. How has it impacted your class? So increase in motivation to learn, 33%, so that was really good. And how has the programme impacted your class? Increase in motivation to learn. Oh, sorry, that's a repeat. There's the same one. Okay. So how have I developed as a leader? What I did is I went through the leadership standards and I just highlighted the ones I felt that organising a whole school event that stood out for me. So in pedagogy, promoting the vision. So I had to share the bike programme with the pupils and staff and the relevance of the experience, sustaining highly effective teaching and learning and high experience and quality provision. Create an inclusive learning environment. So like all pupils were given an opportunity to try a bike. The programme supported ongoing curriculum development, and we had to listen to the learners, and also through the Google form as well with their feedback. Refining, so it was like a real life authentic context. They were actual bikes with pedals, without pedals, and different equipment. Influencing, so ensuring the programme was successful, listening to the pupils and staff across the school. All learners were welcome and involved, and use of feedback forms as well to monitor the impact. So collaboration was key. Just going to move that up there a sec. Links with the bike company and feedback with questionnaires were invaluable. Use of questionnaires, evaluating the impact, and listening to staff, pupils and parents, and promoting teaching and leadership, promoting the 4 purposes, particularly the health and wellbeing aspect. So this is just some of the reading that I did across the 2 years, really, because I obviously started the programme a year ago. So obviously the SDP, my chrysalis training notes, schools as organisations, curriculum for ways, inspection standards, education in Wales, our national mission, professional standards for teaching, and I've got a few books that I dip into every now and then. The Art of Being a Brilliant Middle Leader, and the chapter All Change was really useful. So barriers, definitely space, because we needed a space where the children could cycle around confidently, and we started off on the space outside the school, but then with the buses coming in and out and drop-offs and deliveries, that became a bit of a barrier. So we ended up going on to the secondary yard where there was a bit more space. Staff not sticking to timetables and then just turning up with their class and saying, oh, it's my class's turn. That was quite hard because I'm teaching as well. I couldn't be in with the bike company all the time. So I've put being in class-based was a barrier, because obviously I couldn't be out and in all the time. It was really difficult to manage the difficulties they were having when I wasn't there. Confusion over the dates. They emailed me the dates 6 months ago, but a week before they said, oh, we're not coming out till next week. But on the email, they said a different date. So that was a bit confusing to start with. We had to identify the children doing their level 2 award, and that was a quick turnaround. So the risk assessment had to be done really quickly. So that was quite difficult. Staff then assuming they could just turn it up for extra sessions when it wasn't timetabled. So we had to sort of turn them away and say, no, it's like 1 session per class, because you've got 24 classes to access 1 session. We couldn't give any more children any more time. And then staff and parents not responding to emails, that's quite hard sometimes. So how have I developed as a leader? Measure an impact in different ways, not just by data and assessments, formal assessments, by observations and things like that. Leadership standards, I feel like I've gained more confidence in adhering to those. It's okay if things don't go to plan. It's really hard, isn't it? You want everything to be perfect, but actually it's okay if it doesn't. Just becoming more aware of my leadership styles. Asking for help is a strength, I think that's just confidence, isn't it? When you think you're asking for help because you're not doing very well. And how to share a vision and include whole school community. That was just an email the head had said at the end of the scheme. And I thought that was really nice, and I've kept it because I think he was really pleased. And then he's actually retiring in September. He's retiring at the end of this week, but he's already put £5,000 aside for me so I can do it again next year, because he can see the impact it's had and the fact that all pupils had accessed it. So I really like that email of thanks. Gave me a bit of confidence anyway. And I just put some quotes at the end that I've read recently, which I think were pertinent to the scheme that I'd organised. How am I doing for time?
I think you've got about 2 minutes, but
Oh, shall I go
we
back
can-
to my the video that started it all off?
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Hopefully it'll play now.
This term we have been learning about our community.
This week we've been talking about roads in the future.
Yeah, what?
Like a car.
Walkways.
We need more services for food and refreshment and rest in the motorways, and also even some roads.
All zebra crossings.
Each driver should be 19.
More police cameras. I think there should be more school crossing patrol officers. More cycling paths, please.
We're looking forward to see the roads of the future.
Thank you for listening.
And that's it, really.
Oh, that was great. Lovely to see the pupils as well. That's it. It's horrible seeing my face reflected back at me then. That was brilliant. Thank you very much. And really lovely to see the pupils getting so involved. And you can see some of the work that they've done behind the cycling as well, which is really great. Do we have any questions? Any questions from the rest of you?
In terms of the staff, were they on board straight away? You know, because obviously it could be a project which fills people with anxiety, especially, you know, children with additional needs. Were they, you know, did you have staff buy-in? Did you have to try and kind of get people on board, or was everyone really enthusiastic?
Not really. I think because the scheme had come in with the trained, they were trained in delivering like cycling schemes to children. like they had to take their class down, but it sort of the pressure wasn't on them, if that makes sense, because there was someone there to deliver it and to say what they had to do, what helmets, what bikes, what sizes. So I think it was just a case of supporting the children rather than supporting the bike. So no, I didn't have any problems like that. It was more that it was more that people were just turning up at the wrong time, not checking, that type of thing, you know. But yeah, no, the staff were brilliant. Loads of people have said how great it was, and I think what they wanted was more. But with that many children, like there's 250 odd on roll now, it was just impossible to give them any more sessions than that was already there, and it's quite a pricey experience, really. It would be good to have it longer, but that would be a lot of money.
Do they bring the bikes with them?
Yeah, they bring everything, helmets, bikes, yeah, everything, yeah. And there's another company called Pedal Power, and they do more for sensory children, to the more profound needs, yeah. Yeah, they took everything. So it is worth the money, it's just expensive.
So how will you build on this next year?
Well, like I said, on one of the parent forms, it said they're not confident in using bikes with their children, and I wondered whether I could get some sessions for the parents. So obviously I've got the money, so I could definitely can still have the 2-week bike slot, but I'm going to see if I can involve parents in it, maybe. Obviously I'll have a think, and we've got a new head starting in September, so obviously I'll have to run it by him first, but that's what I'd like to do, so that they can see how it works and that actually it's okay. Yeah.
Brilliant. Any other questions? No.
It looked lovely. It looked really, the children, you could see the smiles on their faces.
Oh,
And
they loved it, yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.